Well, hello, my name is Lenny Hernandez, host of Arrow's Diversity and Inclusion Speaker Series. The purpose of this series is to provide information, insights, and empathy into experiences, walks of life, and causes that many of us may not previously had the opportunity to learn about. Our job here at Arrow is to build community, and ensuring that everyone feels understood and welcomed is one of the most important aspects of that job. And we believe that doesn't stop at our front doors. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Shirley, a resident of Vitalia North Olmsted. She sat down with Kaleigh Miller, a veterinarian technician at the Happy Trails Farm Animal Sanctuary in Ravenna, Ohio, for a discussion about animal justice. They talked about what justice for animals means, misconceptions about farm animals, and what people can do to support the cause. So, please enjoy.
The biggest thing to identify animal abuse is knowing what those animals need.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Well, let's get right into it. The National Justice for Animals Week. I mean, Kaleigh, what is that? Start us off with just that.
So
what is it?
National Justice for Animals Week. It was actually created by the Animal Legal Defense Fund, and it's aimed at raising awareness all around animal abuse. So how to identify it, how to report it, how to get your community together to create stronger laws, to better enforce justice for animals. And it's a time where resources are pushed so that you're able to get better access to animal rescues, law enforcement officials that aim to focus on animal defense, judges, advocates, prosecutors, pretty much anybody who is involved in animal welfare. It is a week focused to advocate for those people. And it also honors a lot of the top animal defenders, and just the work that's been done in the year to focus on animal welfare.
I see. I guess I'm having trouble understanding what Animals Week is. Justice for animals. Because I thought the laws were pretty strict now, for dogs and cats, but I didn't realize it was other animals as well.
Absolutely, that's a good point. And I think it kind of brings us down to one of our other questions that we're going to discuss, which is just animal rights for, our animal friends in general. So yes, you are correct that recently in years prior, our laws have gotten a lot stricter for dogs and cats and what you would consider companion animals. So animals that you're going to keep in your home. They have gotten the law that Dick Goddard created. So that was pushing all of animal neglect cases to a 5th degree felony. But the only issue with that is it does not cover farm animals or what you would consider livestock. And it creates this gray area because if we make those laws any stricter, we're definitely making things more difficult for people in the agricultural field, so farmers, those that are producing our food. So we want to, make sure that we're not infringing on people's ability to eat, but also in the same token, and I would say the last 10 years, people have started to keep farm animals as pets a lot more, specifically our smaller livestock, so goats, sheep, pigs are a lot of times becoming backyard pets. And they fall into that space where they're still pets. They're being, kept for life, but they're not always being tended to with the same care that you would want pets to get. So that's where we kind of come in, that there's a lot of times we're getting pot bellies that people have kept in their apartment, and so they're not able to get outside. They're not able to actually be a pig, and so they suffer serious complications because of that, because they get back injuries from jumping up and down on couches now, whereas they were normally outside in a field doing what pigs do. So we're kind of moving in the opposite direction and creating a very interesting kind of problem for these animals, because we're treating them as pets, but there's not necessarily the same laws to protect them when things happen. So I think people are starting to advocate for animals a little more, that if you're bringing them into your home, they deserve to be treated properly. But I think some people tend to forget that if they're out in your backyard, they still probably deserve the same level of care that you're giving your guys inside.
See, it's very hard for me to believe that people actually keep these kind of animals in their home.
Really, we're actually,
how do they tell you they have to go outside?
So pigs are actually pigs tend to be my go-to, because they're my specialty animal. Pigs are highly intelligent. So when it comes to like us, as a sanctuary or a small farm, our pigs are the cleanest animal on the farm. So they have their little barn. They don't go to the bathroom where they eat or sleep. So they only go to the bathroom outside. So it makes maintaining their inside area very easy. So if you have them indoors, you can train them and potty train them like you would a dog. Actually, we have a couple pigs that have been adopted that have been indoor-outdoor pigs, where they can come into like the sunroom during winter, and they'll ring a bell to be let out to go to the bathroom in the morning and be let back in and go about their business. So they're highly intelligent when the setup is right. So we do run into a lot of incidences where these pigs are kept in apartments, they're kept confined. Like, for example, we're getting a pig on Monday who, exact same situation, was kept in kept in an apartment. The people had bought them from a breeder that told them they were a teacup potbelly pig. So they were only going to get to be about 20 pounds. That doesn't exist. It's not a thing. Pigs are pigs. They're going to get to be anywhere from 70 to 100 pounds as a potbelly. So now you have this pig that's about 150 pounds because it's been overfed, because it's inside, it's bored. They're trying to keep it busy by feeding it because it's very smart, and pigs are, easy to train with food. So now it's gotten morbidly obese. They can't get it outside to exercise. So that's where it just runs into all these problems. And it becomes more so a situation of neglect, because the animal is not able to just do its normal day-to-day activities.
Do they have pig doors?
I have never seen a pig door. That is a great question. I could imagine if you got a really big doggy door, it might work, but I feel like you'd have to like make the sides a little bigger so that they could fit through. A lot of times it just works better for pigs to be outdoor pets, because it's just hard to try to keep them in your home for that exact reason.
See, I'm having a hard time grasping the fact that people actually have farm animals in their home.
It is a growing fad that I have seen, and it blows up over the years. Every time you see a pig on Facebook where it's like a cute little pig in their house, and it's got, it's well trained and it's with the dog, and then we have people reach out to us that want to adopt a pig from us to live in their house to be just like that. And then we have to be the bad guys that give them the rude awakening that that's not how it's going to be. Pigs will get big. They're highly intelligent. A lot of times we hear from people that keep pigs in their homes that they're destructive. They will tear your carpet up. They learn how to open the refrigerator. They learn how to open all your cabinets. So it's not a great fit. And so the more people try to make it work, the more issues we run into as an organization that tries to advocate for those animals.
Well, I do know that people in the city are trying to get chickens.
Yes.
Get the city boards to approve chickens in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, do these people let the chickens in the houses?
I have met some folks that do let chickens in the house. It is an interesting I personally would not do that. That just sounds like salmonella and a lot of
Oh, that
diseases I
sounds
would
like,
not want.
oh, no. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen more recently that some of our surrounding counties are trying to push for people to be able to own poultry. And in certain areas, you know, your more rural areas where people do have an acre or an acre and a half and, you know, have some space to be able to own those animals, I think it's a great opportunity. But I live more so in a city, and I know I would not want to hear a rooster crowing 24/7 in my backyard. And also it's a busy area, and so it's not safe for those animals to be free ranging in the city where they can get hit by cars or get
Right.
out, get
Yeah.
attacked by other people's animals. So it's hard to mesh the livestock and agricultural world with the companion animal world. And so it's definitely working in this industry where I do work with livestock. It's interesting to see the different areas that they're coming from.
Now, what kind of work do you do at Happy Trails?
So Happy Trails is a 501c3 nonprofit. So we are a private nonprofit organization. But the way we kind of like to describe ourselves is we are a foster home for humane agents and animal shelters. So when those pigs are surrendered to an animal shelter, or when, you know, like we're located in Portage County. So when the local humane society, you know, finds a loose rooster running, or we tend to in this area you find a lot of loose livestock that have fallen off of trucks. Local humane societies, they're not necessarily capable of housing those animals until they find the proper places to go. So that's where Happy Trails steps in. So when there is, say, a horse that has been involved in an abuse or neglect situation, it can't go into a dog or cat shelter. And most local humane organizations are not set up for large animals. So that's where they'll reach out to us. And we will act as kind of a landing space for them, like I said, until they find their forever proper home. Another thing that is like really prevalent in Ohio that not a lot of people are aware of is cockfighting. So it is the act of making two roosters fight. People bet on it for money. It is now considered a felony. But it is very prevalent in our southern counties. And so when a humane society comes into a situation like that, where all of a sudden there's 100 roosters that they need to take in and help from a fighting situation, they can't put them in dog kennels. It doesn't work. They're going to fight through the dog kennel. So that's where we step in, and we'll take those animals in. We'll provide them the proper veterinary care, the proper husbandry. And then on top of that, we also have a couple other programs. So Ohio is a huge Amish state. We have a lot of Amish communities. So we have an Amish retirement program so that when the buggy horses can't drive anymore, you have an old arthritic, maybe injured buggy horse, and the Amish, you know, they don't want to send it to auction. They don't want to have to put the horse down because it's an injury that maybe they can't drive anymore, but they can still be a happy horse out in a pasture. We will take them in, no questions asked. So we will help the Amish facilitate that. And we'll rehab and help rehome some of the retired Amish buggy horses. And then when COVID hit, the biggest thing that we found was people could not afford to keep their horses. They couldn't afford to keep their pet goats anymore. If you lost your job, if a family member got sick, and those are hard animals to rehome. It's not quite the same as reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, could you take my cat? You know, I lost my job, and you can't do that with a horse. And so that's where we were able to step in and say, you know, we will help you. If we can't personally take them in, we will help find a home that can, you know, house that animal during your crisis.
Which animals do you take in?
We will take in anything that is considered a farm animal. So we do horses, pigs, goats, sheep, chickens, turkeys, ducks, alpacas, donkeys. At any given point in time, we have about 170 to 200 animals on the property.
Oh, and they're allowed to roam free on your property?
We have different areas set up, and actually we do have public tours. So in the summer, when the weather is actually nice, we do open our facility up for the public to come through on tours and meet our animals. But we have a multitude of different barns. So we have our horse barn, and our horses have, let me think, our horses have 4 different pastures that we're able to turn them out to every day so they can get out, get exercise. We have we have a couple of different, what we call our pot belly barns, where same thing, they have their own little barn, a pasture, they're able to come in and out with their friends. We have a couple different chicken coops. So yeah, we're a big 11-acre functioning sanctuary, you know, animal facility.
Oh, okay. Now, do they, I know that you just described all the animals, but do they take in cows as well? I mean,
oh yes, yep. Oh yeah, we have a cow right now. That's another animal. A lot of times people are wanting to keep them as pets in their backyard, and they get big and they get difficult to handle. And that's where we're able to step in and assist in those situations.
oh, amazing. I guess I'm just kind of tongue-tied here because I can't believe that people would actually have a cow in their backyard.
It is.
I can understand the horses for the Amish community.
Yeah.
But the cows and the pigs and the goats, I have a hard time understanding why somebody could get an attachment to those animals. I can understand the horses, but cows and pigs and chickens. Can you imagine having a chicken laying next to you in bed with its head on your pillow?
No. Personally, I love chickens dearly. I would love to have a flock of my own one day, but to be outside and to be able to watch their chicken shenanigans, and you know, for the joy of being able to collect eggs and have chickens, but I don't want them sleeping in my bed with me, unfortunately. That's where I'm gonna draw the line.
Well, see, I would draw the line there as well, but I'm just curious here. How do you identify animal abuse?
Yes, so that is, again, a great question, because these animals, people don't necessarily know what they need before they're getting them. They're just getting them because it's a fad, because they see a cute little potbelly pig online doing tricks in a tutu. And so they don't know what those animals are actually in need of. So the biggest thing to identify animal abuse is knowing what those animals need. So all animals, bare minimum in life to sustain themselves, need food of good quality, cannot be moldy, cannot be insect ridden. They need potable, clean water. And they need some type of 3-sided shelter to protect them from the elements. So if you have an outdoor dog, it needs a 3-sided shelter. It needs, especially in this Ohio unpredictable rain and snow and heat and rain and snow and heat, they need something to be able to get out of those elements.
Yeah.
So seeing an animal outside, not absolutely no access to those things day in and day out, there's something wrong there. But there's a lot of misconceptions in our world when it comes to animal abuse, because people may see a goat and sheep outside in a pasture grazing on grass, and they may think, well, they don't have a shelter, but they have a barn that they go into later in the evening. So that's where I think it's important to know what those animals need before you make assumptions about there may be animal abuse involved. And at the end of the day, vigilante, public, justice when it comes to animal abuse is not the best way to go about things. I've definitely heard stories of people getting injured, going in to try to save a dog that they think is being abused. There are resources for that. That is where it is your humane society. It is a legal officer, sheriff, whatever your county's, jurisdiction, what they do for animal abuse. That is the route that you need to go. Because oftentimes we get calls from people wanting to go out into somebody's pasture, to get a horse, to go out into somebody's, and that's, you're going to get yourself in trouble. You might get the animal hurt. And so going about things the proper way, going through those proper channels, reaching out to your humane officers, that is ultimately the best thing you can do when you feel there is any animal abuse involved. But identifying it, biggest things an animal needs access to is food, water, and shelter.
And those are the animals' legal rights to have
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Okay, can there be animal justice while we still use them for resources and labor?
This is something I'm very passionate about. I do believe that yes, we can still support animal rights and animal welfare, while still using these animals for the purposes that they have. So knowing where your meat comes from, if you have the ability to buy from a local family-owned farm, that money is going back into those animals. It is going back into the facility that takes care of those animals, that puts that meat onto your plate. A lot of times when you buy from local farms, you get to actually see the animals that are there and how they're being taken care of, and where your money is going, rather than just buying a package from Walmart. Granted, accessibility is still important. Today there's a big crisis with egg prices. So if you have a friend that has chickens, maybe ask to buy eggs from them, so that you're helping out your friend, your community, you're helping out other people around you. And then also supporting your local 4-H, the children that are raising animals for the fair, that are learning how to properly care for these animals. And that money is going back into the community. It's going back to your local fairgrounds. And then lastly, researching the facilities that, if you're choosing to put your money into, how they operate. There are a lot of carriage driving companies up in, your bigger cities, where you can go and get a horse-drawn carriage ride. Look at the reviews online. We have a lot of resources at our disposal today that you can look into a company before you decide to put your money into it, and how are they caring for those animals. Looking into the local petting zoo. What's their reputation like? Are they caring for those animals behind closed doors? Or is your money just kind of padding their pocket rather than actually putting money towards those animals in generations to come? Because a lot of farms and a lot of, local family farms really take pride in the animals that they raise, and the work that they do. So I think knowing that that's out there and putting, your money towards the right avenues when it's accessible is a great way to support animal rights while still, supporting animal consumption.
Okay. Well, I know you said you lived in Portage County?
Yep.
Now, I have heard that the Amish are not real nice to their animals. Is this true, or do they care more for their animals than their dogs and cats? Let's
I think that there is a little bit of misconception there. Definitely when I first started, way back when, I've been in this industry about 10 years, I feel like it was a little different where the Amish saw them as equipment, and they didn't always treat them like they deserved. But as years have gone on, I feel like I have seen a big shift in how they care for their animals, because they realize that putting in, proper care extends the longevity of that animal. Actually getting their hooves done, making sure that your dogs are being fed properly and housed properly, they're going to last a lot longer than not taking care of them. And a lot of times when we personally will get, our Amish surrenders or our Amish buggy horses that are being retired, these people have spent 10, 12, 15 years working with these animals. So they form an attachment to them and they care about them. And a lot of times they're checking in on them and they want to know how they're settling into our program. They send along all their food and their blankets and their medication, and they send along anything that could make them comfortable. And that was not something I used to see back in the day. I felt like they just sent the horse and that was that. You didn't even get a name, anything. You just were given the horse. And so I think there is some truth to it, but it's changing.
that's good to know.
Yeah. And it definitely depends on the community, and the bigger communities, I feel like there's a lot of scrutiny if you don't take care of your animals, but some of the smaller, more spaced apart Amish communities, I don't think there is as much advocacy amongst the community.
Okay. How can we as people support your animal rights or support the animal rights?
I think again, just doing your research, looking into what facilities are advocating for animals, how they're taking care of their animals.
What are some of the misconceptions people have about livestock?
So I think some of the biggest misconceptions is that owning them as pets is, I guess, better in a sense than having them as a farm animal or as a commercial animal, like, using them for resources. If you are getting these animals as pets, but you're not doing the research, you are still you're still indirectly doing harm. As I said before,
Right.
People who get pigs as pets and they're not doing research into the fact that they are very active animals, they're very intelligent animals, and they think that they can just be an apartment pet, you're doing indirect harm. And you might think, I'm taking much better care of this animal because it's not living its life out on a farm and it's not going to be used for food. But that animal has a much more sheltered and difficult life than an animal that does get to be on a farm and have access to a pasture and be with its other friends and be with other pigs and get to see the sunshine. And pigs love to sunbathe. Anytime it is sunny out, all of our pigs will be out with their bellies up. So they need time to be, to be an animal still. That's part of the joy of getting to own an animal is having that animal, is getting to see them be what they are. So I think as we start to try to make these animals become our pets, we're trying to put a circle peg in a square hole, where, you know, you're trying to make a cow act like a dog. You know, you want to go out and brush cow. You know, we get a lot of people that come out and they think, well, why can't I just go out and pet and brush your cows? Well, because they're 2,000 pounds, and if they decide they want to play, they can seriously hurt you. And so, you know, it's not that we think they're mean animals, it's that we know what kind of animal they are. They're big, strong, playful animals. So there's a reason you can't always do those things. And so I think that morally, owning livestock as pets, the biggest and most important thing that you can do is research, educate yourself, and know what that animal needs before you bring it into your home, into your ownership, into your backyard. I think that is the utmost important thing, because you wouldn't want to buy, you know, you wouldn't want to go out and purchase a snake, never having owned a snake in your entire life and not knowing what it needs. Or, you know, say you've never owned a dog in your entire life. You want to know what you're getting yourself into before you delve into that next journey.
Doing the research. Holy moly, Kaleigh, this is such great information.
Oh, yeah.
Shirley, how great was Kaleigh here, just informing all of
Oh,
us
she
on
was wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank
holy
you.
moly. I will say though, I might have been a pig in my former life, because I also like to just lay belly up in the sun.
Me too. That's why I love them. They're near and dear to my heart.
Oh man, such cool information and great information. I mean, really just,
Oh, yeah.
you know, do your research, you know, and know
Mhm.
exactly how to take care of these animals if you're wanting to do something like that. But also, you know, don't. What a crazy story about somebody saying that they, you know, thought they bought a teacup. What is it? Teacup
Yep,
pig.
teacup pig.
A teacup pig.
Yep.
Pigs are
We had
huge.
teacup puppies for a while, and that didn't work. So then they tried with teacup pigs.
Oh my goodness.
I have heard of that, yes.
That is
Mhm.
wild. Well, Shirley, thank you so much for being here and talking with Kaleigh. Kaleigh, thank you so much for
Yeah,
doing
thank
this.
you guys.
What a great diversity and inclusion speaker series and episode we have today. Thank you all so much, and we will see you all next time.
Goodbye.
Oh, you know what? Before we go, Kaleigh, is there any, if somebody wants to find your like your where you work, or how to find you, how do they find you? So I'll take that all out. We're not going anywhere yet. Tell us how to find you.
Happy Trails Farm Animal Sanctuary is the name of the organization. You can find us at happytrailsfarmanimalsanctuary.org. We have a wonderful Facebook page where you can see all of our animals in their prime, doing their best. We post daily updates with our social media person is amazing. I laugh at our posts all the time. We're on Instagram. We are on TikTok. I think we're on like every social media platform. And like I said, we do public tours. So if you're ever interested in coming, our facility is beautiful, our animals are awesome, and our tour guides are very educational. It is a great weekend family, you know, outing.
And where is it that we go?
It is in Ravenna, Ohio. So it is right off of Route 5 in Portage County. And our website it has all of our directions, locations, and any other information that you might need.
Okay.
Well, then that's all the information we need for today. Kaleigh, Shirley, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful